What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to The Climb with Luzenak. It's episode number 31, and today we've got a huge game, two huge games really. The first of which is going to be against Metz, a team who, I'll be honest, they're running away with the league right now. We are hot in pursuit, although not really going as well as I would like. And then after that, we're going to be taking on Auxerre, a team who are fairly big by all kind of French second division club standards. They're a relatively well-known team. I'd heard of them before, I imagine, in football. That's how big they are. Anyway, since you were last here, I've updated the stadium picture. Look at that. Perfect photoshopping work. If you're a York City fan, you may recognise your new stadium. It's a replica. They bought the design from the architect, honest. Either way, you know, it adds a little bit of a homely touch to things. And we have got the Siminar Pongol South stand as well, because, of course, he has to be... He needs to be immortalised in some way, and now his name is going to be plastered on our screen at the start of most episodes. Anyway, shall we talk about the matches since you were last here? Because, as I said, it is a doubleheader, lots to get through. And to be fair, in the last 4 games, it's not been very good. It's really not been very good. We've had a win, a draw, and a loss in the league. We have scraped through the French Cup as well. And, well, the run of games started with a win against Dijon. It was Kofi with the goal in the 23rd minute. Really good result, this against a playoff rival. Dijon were doing fairly well in the league, away from home. Very, very pleased. And it gives us a little bit of momentum. We were very fortunate in this game. The stats, if we just take a quick peek at them, they weren't really in our favour. They had far more clear-cut chances, but we were clinical, and Kofi, who has been a breakout talent this year, I mean, look at the arrows, look at them, drink them in. I mean, let's have a look at his development in the last, 6 months. I mean, you can see it here. It's not too shabby all time as well. Yeah, the determination's dropped. Let's just pretend that's not there. The rest of it's blooming brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, and 10 finishing. 10! He's moving up. It'll be 16 by the time he's 21. I hope you're ready. Anyway, what we weren't ready for was the next game. It was against Gungam. It was our second game at home in our new ground. And despite a Blaze goal, we lost what had previously been an unbeaten home start to the season. Yes, we were turning just our home form in general into, some really, really good stuff in this one. Their first goal was an absolute banger. We fought back through Julien Blaze. Unfortunately for us, the 88th minute came around and a free kick from deep was launched forward. And Moussa Sissako was there to take away the win. And well, things didn't get much better in the next game against Lorient. In this game, we took the lead through Julien Blaze, but it did not last. In fact, it lasted all but 4 minutes. So despite Julien Blaze scoring 2 goals in 2 and looking pretty good for us, we didn't come away with anything in either of these games. Away from home against Lorient, it was kind of disappointing. They're in 7th or 8th, so they are a team pushing for a playoff spot, I suppose. But nevertheless, on the one hand, it's a good away draw. On the other hand, I would have loved to win. It's a bit unfortunate for Julien Blaze, who's been putting in some really good performances, that when he puts in his good performances, it tends to not result in us getting a result. Anyway, most recent game was against Rodez Aveyron, of course, a team who we were ground sharing with earlier on this year, and indeed for the previous few seasons, so a not so unfamiliar stomping ground at the Stade Paul Lignon. In this game, Viltard got us a goal, and it was a reply actually before Pape Sané scored it. It was a really smart set piece that they did. Anyway, Viltard got a goal for us, of course, a player who we got from Sochaux last year. I kind of brought him in to be a backup, but to be honest, with performances like this and his recent average ratings, he's become a bit of a regular of the first team, and well, he wasn't done there. In the 115th minute, it went to extra time. You wondered if the curse of the French Cup penalties was going to come back again. It did not. We took the lead in this game. We won this game, and we're through to the French Cup 8th round, where we have Villefranche to play. That's a game that we should be winning. Anyway, the league form's been a little bit hit and miss, and as a result of that, we have slipped now down to 3rd. So today's opening game of the episode against Metz is going to be huge. They are roaring away with things at the top of the table. 37 points from 14 games, just 1 defeat against Auxerre, who of course we're playing today, and also a draw against Sochaux, who we've already drawn against. So maybe we have a chance going into this one, but it is going to be tricky. And then following on from that, as I said, we've got Auxerre to play. The good news is for us, ourselves and Sochaux and Cannes, I suppose to an extent, we've got a little bit of a cushion onto the teams behind, but they are queuing up. There are a lot of teams, in that early 20-point range who are going to be sniffing out any opportunity to break into the playoffs. So we need to try and continue to string together some results today, and I think it's going to be kind of difficult. Anyway, if we just look at the preview, you can see here, they are the favourites. They are top of the league. They are in excellent form. We are inconsistent in form. And well, in terms of team selection for today's game, This, I think, is the team that I'm going to play. I say I think, I'm having second thoughts. Zangba, I have started playing at right back over Billingy. It's one of those ones where Zangba has the potential for the future. Billingy has been solid in previous years, although this year he hasn't really wowed me. You can see in terms of a head-to-head, they're not really worlds apart. And, well, with Zang, being, so much younger at 18, I just feel like he's the one for the future. He's been showing some good signs of development as well. Of course, he's from Togo, Zangaba, which means he does play alongside Kofi in the national team. Now, recently, I have been playing Kofi as a striker. That's because, as I mentioned, Viltard's been coming in and playing. I do feel like I'm hindering him a little bit here, just because his best performances have been out in the wider areas this year. He's played as a striker 9 times, Kofi, but to be fair to him, he's showing good signs of development. He's continuing to play well. I don't think we need to overreact just yet. The rest of the back four looks fairly familiar, as you might expect. Bavarella, I've been trying to give this first team football to because he's been crying about the lack of it, but the sad reality is I probably need to change his start time down to kind of squad player, and he just needs to get over it. He is not going to be playing as regularly as he would like, and to be fair, when we've played him, he's not been particularly well, doing particularly well. The big dilemma is, do I want to bring in Luis Carlos or Fomba for this game? Luis Carlos is a really good kind of box-to-box midfielder, ball-winning midfielder, whereas Fomba is the more kind of box-to-box-like player. I do actually think in this game where we might struggle to have the ball as much, in fact going with Luis Carlos is probably the better option, a bit more of a defensive option for us, I suppose. The midfield is Blaise, Big Dub and Viltard. I have not been wowed by Nuno Cruz so far. He's not really had the impact I was hoping he would have, the young Portuguese player, and as a result, Big Dub, who has done pretty well at this level yet again, he's kind of constantly surprised me and surpassed my expectations. His numbers are solid this year, 7.32 average rating after 12 league games. Give him the start, give him the number 14 shirt and give him the nod, and well, we're going to do all that and more. Let's get into this. At home against FC Metz, would love to get a win here. As you've seen, our form has been more and more patchy as of late. I feel like we started the season really well. This is perhaps a chance for us to show, yes, we are the real deal. We should be competing for the top 2 automatic promotion spots. On the flip side, Metz are extremely, extremely good. A very well-established French club, of course. Far too big for this second tier, really. They are a team that were one of the favourites to go up, and well, justifiably so when you look at their kind of starts the year. And well, they have a chance early on here. Garot loops it away. That was not the most convincing of clearances. Nor was that the most convincing of keeping the ball in play by them. We could be on the breakaway here. Kahinde to Blaise. What can he do? He switches over to Viltard. No one in support. Does he need the support? He did need the support. He puts it wide. He claps above his head. You need to be hitting the target there, lad. There's no point in applauding yourself. I'm not going to clap you. Maybe that's why he's clapping. He knows no one else will. Anyway, Zangaba, the young Togo. Is it Togolese or Togonese? I don't... What is someone from Togo? I know there's a highlight and it might be an important chance, but this is more important right now. Where are you from? Togolese. I was right the first time. Right, watch us now score. Kahinde hits it. Kofi's offside. I mean, maybe I should have just kept the tactics screen open. I didn't want to see that. Don't want to see goals ruled out for offside. It's like the most heartbreaking thing in Football Manager. Especially when you know it's offside as it hits the back of the net and you just have to watch the player celebrate, knowing full well he needs to get back in position and stop being complacent. Anyway, you can see just on the bench, Manan has got a little bit of a knock. Besides that, we've been pretty fortunate with injuries so far this year. We've not had too many issues with them. Got a chance here as well. They deal with the initial corner, but have another go, Kahinde. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Back post, Blaise. What a save by Slugger. What a name as well, Slugger. Sounds like a wrestling name. I don't know, mate. It's not quite flamboyant enough for wrestling, is it? It sounds cool, though. And, well, Honey's through. Honey. Sweet ball into the box by him. Dealt with initially, but another ball back in. Great save by Thomas in goal. I'll tell you what, Thomas, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. Last year, he was insane in goal for us. This year, we've had a lot more shots against us, as you would perhaps expect, stepping up a league. But he has done pretty well when he's been called upon, and that was their first shot of the target, Metz, and it was a pretty good save that was required. Anyway, we're approaching half-time. It remains 0-0. Hal to Big Dub, now with Kahinde. What's he going to do? He's going to go back to Hal. He switches it ambitiously towards Blaise. It's dealt with. Metz look content to play out from the back. We're going to try and eliminate, the space that they have to work in. But you can see they worked the ball quite nicely there until Zangaba. I was going to say he read the play. He didn't really read it. I think he's just shouted, pass it to me. And, he's deceived the opposition there. Because that was a pass to nobody but him. Anyway, Rekka bringing the ball forward. Back inside, they are knocking the ball around nicely, kind of in a way that we would normally do. We don't see this a lot. We haven't seen this kind of quality in oppositions. I feel like Honey now on this right-hand side, crossing it in. Yuan is there, looping header just wide. Another decent opportunity for them, though. Another shot off target. They've still only had the one. At the break, it's going to be 0-0. Kofi's picked up a little injury. That's concerning. What is the injury? Knees are not good. Knees are not something to mess around with. Right. Cyprian David, come on down, my friend. As much as I would love to keep Kofi on, I'm going to have to take him off. Zangaba, by the way, 100% of tackles won. Who is Billingy? Who is... I don't remember him. Anyway, you can see actually he's got one cap. He's capped at 18 years old. It's the hallmark of quality, or hallmark of quality even. Right, am I happy with this team talk? I should say something to David. David, you're coming on at half-time. I've got faith in you. Look at it. Motivated. He's loving it. I'm loving it. Let's get out there and get a result. Cyprian David kind of started the season on the right-hand side, of course, cutting in on his left. He's not wowed me this year, and in a very competitive side where we do have a lot of players competing for the... starting positions. He just found himself down the pecking order. And while there's offside here? Was Lorraine the man offside? I don't think he was. It must have been a player stood in front. Either that or... we don't even get a replay. It must have been Miles offside. I'm not going to complain. It's now 1-1 in terms of offside goals. But that is a little bit of a warning from us that we can't disregard them, especially from set pieces. Jallo with the ball here. Tackled by Russo. Love to see it. No red cards today, please, Russo. He's been quite well behaved since his red card on the start of the season. Unfortunately, he's not been a super standout player for us. I say unfortunately just because he was so good for us last year. Whilst he wasn't the standout member of the back four, he was more than solid, and I thought he could make the step up, and he really hasn't, as they have a great opportunity. Thomas holds on to it. Love to see that from the keeper, bailing us out yet again. And with 25 minutes left, it's still all there to play for, isn't it? Luis Carlos has not been good today. I'm going to take him off and bring in Fomer. And you know what? I think we'll keep him on box-to-box midfielder. We're going to throw some men forward. Viltard hasn't wowed me either. We'll bring on Nuno Cruz and we'll move Cyprian David out onto the right-hand side, cutting in on his left foot. Nuno Cruz, of course, the young Portuguese player, yet to really have a mark on the team. He is naturally a striker, but with 9 finishing, I prefer to play him in midfield. And it's 2-1 in offside goals. It's 0-0 on the night. Big dub. Getting a big head on it in typical big dub fashion. I mean, now they're due an offside goal, aren't they? Ball whipped in, headed away. Julian Blaze. Could we launch a counter-attack here? Look at Blaze go. He's a trailblazer down this near side. That's an original piece of commentary, Jack. Keep it up. Referee, Jallo, get off the pitch. They're going to be down a man here. They are going to be down a man. The question is, how are they going to line up? How are they going to line up? Are they just going to ditch their wide midfielder on one side? Looks like they've dropped their centre attacking mid. That's a bit of a weird one. I'm just thinking about how I want to approach this. To be honest, I don't really want to change anything. I was thinking that they might, sacrifice one of their wide attacking midfielders, and what that would do is just leave us with the opportunity to tell our fullbacks to push on. But I'm very wary that Metz have quality, so let's not get carried away. A draw would still be a good result here. I was about to say we will go attacking for the last few minutes, but let's wait for this to play out. Penalty referee, he points to the spot. We will take that all day, every day. Who's over it? It's Julian Blaze. I've not muted my phone. It's all going balmy here in the 87th minute. Blaze, can you score for me? Of course he can. Of course he can. Who messaged me? Oh, it's Blaze saying that he was going to score the goal. Well, thank you, Julian. Right, it's 1-0. It's 1-0. That's what matters. That's what matters. It's all kicking off, folks. It's burst into life, this game, ever since the red card. I realised that I probably could have gone a little more refrained and defensive, but a minute later, we've got another highlight beginning. Cyprian David. What can you do, David? What can you do? Look at him go. Plays it inside to Fomba. On off the bench. The subs linking up Kahinde. Plays it through to David. This has got to be a goal, and it isn't. He hasn't hit it across goal. That's not where to put that shot, David. I don't mean to be hypercritical, but that's not it, Chief. That is not it. Musa now bringing this ball down this near side, blazing past players, although his name's not Blaze. It's not dealt with, on my word, from one end to the other. And Metz, a man down, get back into this. And I know someone's going to tell me, Jack, you should have gone defensive. Look, we were on top in this game until that moment. I didn't want to invite pressure onto us, especially against 10 men. No point in shutting up shop, it feels like, when they're not overcommitting men forward. That said, Thomas got out of position. We've let the ball bounce there. That's the main issue. Knowing what we know now about the fact that, they're down a man and, the game's perhaps there for the taking. Let's just push a little bit harder for the last 4 minutes. Can we push a little bit harder? Can anything happen? Of course it can't. Jack, you've made changes in the 90th minute and then expected a highlight. That's not how Football Manager works. It finishes 1-1, which, to be fair, isn't the worst result in the world against the team who are top of the league. They are top of the league. That is only the 3rd match this season where they've dropped points. Kofi is only out for 3 to 4 days. Probably a good job we didn't continue to play him through with that injury. Just looking ahead, we're going to come back for the Auxerre game. It's going to mark the start of December. Get your advent calendars ready, and I will see you in a week. Hopefully we can get a better result, and we may need to rotate the team a little bit, especially if Kofi doesn't recover. Hopefully he'll be fine. Let's do this. You're not going to believe who I've signed. I'll show them editing, Jack. Show them. Yes, Diego Costa joins Lausanne. I can't work out if this is going to be the biggest stroke of genius or not. We've been lacking goals fundamentally this year. I have been not underwhelmed, not overwhelmed, just whelmed by the number of goals. The fact that Kofi and Blaze have kind of been the 2 players we've lent on, and they're the 2 players who really I would like to play on either wing, kind of gives you an idea of where the issues lie. We need a goal scorer who can score at this level. Manan, he's had his issues with injuries. He's played 9 games this year and hasn't got off the mark. So I've delved into the market. We've signed Diego Costa, everyone, 35 years old, and I'll tell you what, he's pretty blooming good if you just cover the physicals. Just cover them up, pretend they're not there, and then look at the mentals and technicals. He is a very good goal scorer. Now, he is due to retire at the end of the year. You'll notice here he's got the perfectionist personality, but we've managed to pick him up. He's on £2,000 a week to the end of the year. You can see he was playing previously for CSKA Moscow. Some would call this a fall from grace. I think it's a fall to hopefully stardom. Stardom with Lausanne. That's what I'm imagining for Diego Costa. I have been continuing to just look at ways that we can improve the team. One player who I've had pop up on my radar who I'm quite keen on is this guy Dabo. I feel like every time he'd score I'd want to dab, so maybe that's a reason not to sign him. But the other reason not to sign him is I don't know if we need more centre mids. That said, for 22 years old he looks absolutely phenomenal, and he would add a definite kind of amount of quality to our team. And the only issue really is that I feel like we're already struggling to fit in all our players, and he's not too dissimilar to Fomba in terms of overall quality. But given the fact he's 22 and he just looks really good and really well-rounded, I am tempted. Talk me out of it in the comment section. Also worth noting, I did almost sign Nicholas Bentner, and then common sense took over and I cancelled it. So I will warn you now, when you compare him to Diego Costa, I think it becomes kind of obvious why I cancelled it. He's just not as good. But the Lord nearly joined us. We were nearly in the Lord's house, but Lord Bentner, no, not today, not here, not now, maybe never. I was tempted though. Anyway, just a little bit of squad news before we get into today's game. We've had a bit of a mare during the week. Hal has picked up an injury. He's not really fit to play, so we're going to have to drop him. It does mean that Hugo Robert is going to be back in the team. There's a throwback. And Scudato can come onto the bench. Luis Carlos, who of course we gave the nod to last time, has struggled a little bit. He's picked up a knock, so we're going to take him out and bring in Bavarel. That does then open up the opportunity to bring Mori into the fray. Elsewhere, I think it's probably time, isn't it? It's probably time to bring in Diego Costa. It's probably put him in. We need to register. Can we actually register him at the moment? Can we register players mid-season? Oh, we can. I probably should have checked that before I signed him. Although we are in December now, we're not far away from what could be a busy January. So Diego Costa is now registered, so now he can be moved onto the bench. I'm sorry, Nuno Cruz. You've disappointed me. I kind of want to start him. No, common sense. Build up his fitness slowly. The other bit of team news, besides the players I've just addressed, is the fact that in goal, Thomas is out injured. He's out for 3 to 11 days with a pulled hamstring, which is not ideal. It's worth noting that his contract with Toulouse expires at the end of the year. I would love to pick him up on a free transfer. When I looked to sign him in the summer, they were asking for millions of pounds. In fact, you can see here the estimated cost is still millions of pounds. I would love to sign him permanently. Whether or not that is realistic, we will find out, I guess, in a month's time and perhaps beyond into the run of the end of the season. You can see the squad here is a little bloated. I definitely think we could trim some fat off the team. There are certain players who, well, they've not really been playing any regular football whatsoever. So that's maybe something that I need to be a little bit wary of going into January. But in terms of the team, I think where I can avoid making changes, I'm going to avoid making them. The result against Metz was really good. To draw against them was not bad at all. I guess the biggest shame really is that right now we sit 4th in the league. We did lose a bit of ground on Sochaux with that draw. You can see Lorient have just played a game extra. They've now moved up into the playoffs. And there is that pack of teams still breathing down our necks. And Auxerre is, well, they were one such team. They have actually fallen off the pace a little bit. You can see here they've got 21 points from 15. Koyate is their key player. They've got some really good players. I mean, this guy's 18. He's insane. Who else they got? I've looked through their team at the start of the year and they had some insane players. They've got this guy, Fontaine. He looks like a pretty good centre-back at 19. Mavel, another very good centre-back. And they're all generating at Auxerre. I'm a bit jealous. Dare I say it? I'm a bit jealous. Unfortunately for them, a few of their more key players look like they're not going to be available. Although Paul Richardson apparently is the man to fear on loan from LA Galaxy. Am I right in thinking that Auxerre and LA Galaxy have an affiliation? Either way, they've got some really good young players for the future. If we were to get promoted and they were to stay in this division, might just ransack them. I mean, maybe I'm getting a bit carried away. Jack, we're in the playoff spots right now. We need to be winning games like this to get out of the playoff spots and into the automatic promotion spots. I feel like at this point we have to be targeting that. 15 games in, this being the 16th game of the season. It's a 38-game league season as well. I feel like we've got to be looking upwards. We've got to be targeting those higher spots. As unrealistic as perhaps it seemed at the start of the year. And we find ourselves in a good position. And when you think about some of the results we've had, obviously the draw against Metz is a really good result that we had previously. I guess the fact they had a sending off makes you feel like, man, could we have done a bit more there to get the win and all 3 points? Additionally, of course, opening game of the season that was in episode 28, 20... What episode did we start this season on? Whichever episode it was, we took on Sochaux, you might remember, who are now sat in third. And, of course, we had a sending off early on in that game. It was Rousseau, speaking of the devil, who got sent off in that game. So the fact that we drew against them and they're now up in third and we were down a man in that game, you know, we've been fighting out with the big boys and really holding our own, which is great to see. Anyway, our form lately has been hit and miss. We have not won in our last 3 league games, if I'm not mistaken, so we could do with bucking that trend before it becomes a habit. Also, just worth me mentioning, because I didn't talk about it earlier, there wasn't an episode up yesterday. A few of you guys had been observing it and saying, Jack, do you sound a little sick? It wasn't really that I've felt sick the last couple of days. My voice has just been very, very sore and very tired. It's still a little raspy even now. So I'm trying to slow things down a little bit. I had a nice chilled out Saturday. And we're back now to watch Blaze put us ahead. Okay, he's not put us ahead, but Kofi's put us ahead. In with the rebound. And Auxerre, after 2 minutes, find themselves behind. Blaze and Kofi, the two men running the show this year at Luzenac. 2 products of the academy, born and raised in the town. And while Blaze gets in behind, really intelligent run. The pass in was superb as well. Probably should have just pulled it back straight away, but he had the shot. It bounced out fortuitously. Kofi was there. We take the lead. We're up to third, everyone. We're climbing up. Do you get it? Climbing up? Because the series called The Climb. Right, Kahinde, bail me out, son. Make me stop these puns by getting us a goal. Auxerre, please don't score. Richardson, the player we talked about from LA Galaxy, look at him go, gives it to Sardi, tries to squeeze it in at the near post, and of course Paul making his debut in goal instead of He's forgotten that he needs to make a save there, hasn't he? I mean, he made a good initial save, did Paul? And we have brought him in this year really as a backup. I mean, the Thomas injury is unfortunate. Making his debut, and well, he just didn't move for this one. I mean, it was a crazy effort, to be fair. I don't know if I can really blame him, but try, man. Just stick out on it. It's not that difficult. Look, like this. Actually, that would be... The ball went to the left of him, so I've raised the wrong arm there. The point still stands. Probably could have done more to try and stop it. Big dub. Viltard. Can we bounce back immediately? It's been a very tight game so far. Big dub. Bringing it forward. Kofi looked offside on the shoulder of the last man. Would it have been offside? It would have been offside. It wouldn't have counted anyway. But that is another good chance that we have wasted there. Of course, away from home, this is not an easy game. We've looked through their team. They've got some good players of Auxerre. Kind of envious, which is kind of rich coming from me because we've got some good young players of our own, but there's just a little bit of a cut above. Looks like at half-time it's going to be 1-1, although maybe I've just cursed it. Maybe I've just cursed it. They've got a corner. It's headed over. That is a little bit of a let-off, isn't it? That was a little close for comfort. And another set-piece. The chances, they just keep coming in the dying embers of this first half. Mervell playing it around the back. Goes all the way back to Mitchell in goal. What is he going to do? I'm not sure about that keeper kit. Is that a yellow or a green? Somewhere in between. It looks like someone's got a highlighter pen and coloured in a kit. Richardson's through. Richardson's scoring. That's what I get for talking about office utensils in the middle of the match. Makes it 2-1. There's no point in me getting shouty. There's a minute left of the half. But I'm going to do it anyway just to make myself feel a little bit better. Just a big ball and a flick on over the top. And was that... Oh, who was that? It was Garreau. Of course, Garreau moving over to the right with Hugo Robert coming back into the team. And, well, we look like a team who are missing our starting goalkeeper and our best centre-back. Show me something else in the second half, boys. Show me something else. Anything. Probably a better performance is what I'd like. Not anything. Don't play worse, whatever you do. Ball whipped in here. Back post headed. They've scored again. Paul, mate. I don't want to throw you under the bus, but you've been shocking here, son. I'm going to go 4 games without a win. And suddenly, that kind of second place spot that we were sat comfortably in just last episode has vanished across 2 games. Paul Leaps, to be fair, he's tried that time. He's watched my tutorial and he's got better. Unfortunately, Auxerre have just been the better team in this game so far. I'm going to move Kofi out onto the right, and then we're going to bring in Diego Costa. And you know what? Big Dub, you've been quiet today. Manan, come in as the attacking midfielder friend. Let's get in the veterans down the centre. Let's see what they can do for us. Diego Costa, I have no idea what to expect from you. You look pretty good, even if you are lacking any kind of pace. As the lone forward, though, what can he do? He's going to have pacey players either side of him. One such player is Blaze, who's maraudering forward, hits it. I don't know if he could have passed it then. It just wasn't a very good shot by Blaze. I wanted to believe he was going to square it to Costa for a goal on his debut. Anyway, we've got a long throw here. Where is Hugo Robert in all of this? There's Diego Costa. He's underneath it. It's blocked away only as far as Blaze. Back across the line. Manan was there, still looking for his first goal of the season. It would be a pretty good time for you to get it today, Manan. It would be a pretty good time for you to get it today. We need to up the tempo. We need to push more. We need to get going in this game, really. And it's concerning that I'm saying that with 20 minutes left as they whip the ball to the back post. And it's another set piece. It's another set piece. It's 4-1. It's a spanking. It's an embarrassment. Paul in goal has been awful. I should have played Gilbert, shouldn't I? I should have played Gilbert. The old school hero. I mean, he's going to be looking at me now. I mean, Paul's not bad, right? Paul's not bad, but compared to Gilbert, I mean, he's a bit better than Gilbert. But he's not wowed me. Paul, you've not wowed me today, mate. That's the face of someone who's let me down, and he knows that he's let me down in this match. I mean, 15 minutes to try and mount a comeback. It's been a very... I want to say it's been a very even game. Like, we've had chances. We've had 2 clear-cut chances, 2 half chances. They have just taken every opportunity that comes their way, and we have not. And that's kind of in the difference here. I don't feel like we've been massively outplayed, which I realise is ridiculous to say when it's 4-1 on the scoreline, but they have been clinical from set pieces. And we've just looked a little bit disorganised, which I do think in part is just down to the enforced changes on our defence, kind of just causing some issues. Manan with it here, playing him at centre attacking mid. We've tried him at striker all year, with Diego Costa coming in. Maybe playing centre attacking mid is his future. Anyway, ball forward, Kahinde gives it to Diego Costa, hits it. I mean, get us 2 more, Diego, and I'll give you a contract extension if you reconsider retirement. Lovely goal by him from range. Absolutely amazing. Kahinde with the ball through. I thought, well, maybe Diego's just going to run through here, but he's not got the legs for that. He's going to just touch it and caress it in to the far corner, wraps his foot around it, goes and runs and gets the ball for good measure. We need 2 more, boys. I mean, there's not much more I can do without it getting a little bit silly. Unfortunately, it looks like it is just going to finish 4-2 here. It was a very hard-fought game. Auxerre have much better quality players than us. We've given it a pretty good go there. I feel like the injuries and such definitely played a factor. but at least Diego Costa scored on his debut, everyone. So now it isn't a bad signing no matter what. Unfortunately, with that result, Cannes have now pulled 5 points ahead of us. You can see Sochaux now sat 3 points ahead of us, and that trailing pack are a little bit closer than they were 2 matches ago. 1 point from the 2 games today is not good enough, and when you look at those 2 results and the 2 results prior, 4 games without a win, it gets concerning, although the next game we've got is against Clermont, who are in 19th. We've then got Grenoble, who are in 17th, and Paris FC in 18th. So you'd hope between that and Le Mans in 16th. Where are Châteauroux? Are you down there too? They're not. But no, when you look at our next 4 games, they're against teams right down there in the table. We're taking on, what, 4 of the bottom 5. Right, if we don't win at some of those, it's going to be... That's when we really start to panic. In terms of when we're going to be back next time, I'm conscious of the fact I've done a lot of live comms this episode quite close together. So with that in mind, I think we'll come back for the game against Cannes. It's going to be at the end of January, in about 2 months' time. In that time, we have got a winter break, so there'll be 6 games played. They currently sit second in the league, so it'll be a good chance for hopefully us to close the gap on them and hopefully be back in the fray for automatic promotion. We've had some tricky games in the last few. I'm kind of looking forward to these next few quote-unquote easier games. I say that, we all know I'm going to lose them all. But fingers crossed, touch wood, maybe a few reinforcements in January if the budget allows it. I mean, we've got a transfer budget, to be fair. I could rejig it. There is money to spend if we want to, and I'm sure that we will. So who knows, next episode, maybe I'll have the rest of Diego Costa's Spanish team that won the World Cup. I mean, we've had Fabregas, we've had Costa. Just going to go through the whole of that Spanish team, clearly, at this point. Anyway, I've rambled for long enough today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you appreciated the double episode. As I said, apologies for the lack of an episode yesterday. Just kind of needed a rest day. I'm sure you guys can relate. With love, with care, I'm still in Ben's outro. The outros recently have been awful. Just cut it off here, Jack. You're a